Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for your interest in seeing what my file looks like in Canva that I shared, my December Stories file that I am currently working on. Before we jump into that file, I wanted to show you just a quick glance at what my Canva account looks like when I open it. I have a lot of projects going on. I have started a lot of projects. I get in and out of projects. And so this is just a kind of a glimpse at what my most recent projects are. Okay, so this right here is the December Stories file that we're going to get into in just a second. But as you can see, I have lots of things going on. I try to categorize my project files by what pages and where they're going to live in an album. So I've got my Halloween album here. This is roughly a 9x8. It consists of two 4x6s and two 3x4s. They get printed and put into pocket pages. It's a specific album that I have. I've got 6x8 albums. I've got a couple print files here. I've got my Week in the Life. I have a Pumpkin Farm album that I'm currently working on. Again, another print file, Day in the Life I've touched, another Week in the Life from last year. I have a specific file that I have set up size-wise for outside the page protector. So any pages I want to print outside the page protector size, I drop into this file. It's set up with those size proportions already of 7 inches by 8.25. And I export my JPEGs from, or my PDFs, depending on how I'm printing them, from this particular file. Okay, so each file you'll see, well, most of them, has a little tag down here at the bottom. It's a gray bar with the name of the folder where I store these albums. So or these files. So if I haven't worked on it recently, I know that I can go to my Stories album folder, and just by going over here to projects, let's see, it's going to show up in my folders area here, and stories. Oh, it's not showing. So see all. All right, what just happened? It went to design, see all. Oh, you know what? It's because it's nested. So Memory Keeping Projects is my overarching folder, and then inside that folder I have story albums, page templates, project life, and December pages. I also have a couple other like random things. So I organize my stuff by folders, and then that way depending on what I'm looking for, I can just go in and find it. Here are my story albums. They consist of mostly 6x8 albums, along with my Halloween album, which I said is a pocket page, weird size. And I also have a traveler's notebook that I've kind of started over here. Okay, so that's kind of basic organization as to my setup of how my Canva account is going. I find that if you organize as you go or assign your projects to folders as you're creating them, it's much easier to find them, and it's much easier to kind of like have a handle on what you've got going on. So I have lots of things in progress. As you can see, I've got a 2021, 2022, and 2023 project life file set up down here. And there's a lot of things not happening in them, but I also have dropped in a lot of stuff. I try not to stress about all of the projects that I have going, because I would probably end up just stressed out and not doing any of them, because it's a lot and I'm never going to be caught up, but that's okay. Small amounts of progress just keep you moving forward, and just keep doing your pages and printing them out. All right, enough about that. Let's go into December Stories, 6x8 album from 2022. I want to preface this before I open this up. I have not opened this document for about a week. So quite honestly, this is a true working file for me. It's not going to be beautiful. It is going to speak to only my mind and how my mind works. And I'll try to walk you through a little bit of what you're seeing. So let's open it. All right, let's go to grid view so we can see like overall what we're dealing with here before we start talking about everything. Okay, 6x8. You might notice here, do you see how I have the word printed underneath a couple of the pages? And that's because those pages have already been sent to the printer, and I've printed them out and they're already in my album. So at a quick glance when I'm going through this, because it's been a few months since I printed pages, I can see, oh, okay, I've already printed that one. I don't even need to worry about that page right now. It's already done, or it's in progress in the physical world. I don't have to deal with it in Canva anymore. As we go through here, I'm not sure that I said printed on everything. Looks like I kind of did. So, all right, it's a crazy messy file. So what you were looking at here is 113 pages of my brain dump into a Canva working document. The first couple pages where you have those full page photos, that's me trying to figure out which photo am I going to print as 6x8 as my opening photo. And I wasn't sure. I didn't know. So I printed all 4 of those pages, 1, 2, 3, and 4. I printed as full size 6x8 photos, so that I could see what they looked like behind the transparency that said, I think, Marianne Bright. And I think I ended up liking number 4 best because of the contrast, the green, the color, all of that. So, but I wasn't sure. So I printed all of them, and I didn't mind spending a little extra to have these printed. It's worth it to me to actually get the photo that I want the first time. So I just print a little bit more. Okay, so what you're looking at here, 6 and 7, I needed to print the background by itself because the photo and the frame are layered together. So that's why this is a single page with just the background. I had that printed, and then I printed the photograph separately, and this little black frame is part of the nested chipboard frames that I think came with the Christmas Pass kit. This looking back page right here is all digital. And then in this blank spot right here, I added a foil heart sticker. So I left space for that in my file. Well, you know what? Actually, that's just how this design is. I don't think I had to do anything special. But looking at the page right here, it looks a little blank. Page 9 and 10, you'll see that this is a template that Kim and I back around this time last year, we opened up a Facebook group that was private. It was a paid service group, and it revolved around December Daily. And we created tutorials on how to do certain things in Canva. Lots of tips were given. I think we had like tips on Thursday and tutorials on Tuesday. And Kim also created some templates that she gave away in that group. And this calendar, the very base calendar design, was set up by Kim, and she provided it to everybody in the group. So what you're seeing here is you're seeing 2 versions of it. So as I'm going along often, and I start building my page, and then I think to myself, well, maybe I don't like this photo here, or maybe I want to rearrange a couple things here, or whatever. Instead of doing that and then not liking it and having to spend the time redoing it, I just duplicate the page. So I duplicate the page, and then I start making some adjustments. And so now I have 2 pages that look very, very similar, but I know the difference between the 2 of them. And I know that this second page is the page I'm actually going to print. I swapped out a couple photos, and I removed these little gold star embellishments, because what I'm going to do once this page is printed is I'm going to add my own physical, like puffy sticker stars to the page if I really feel like it needs something. If I don't, I'm going to leave it. I have no problem having a completely flat digital only printout in my album. I don't have to embellish everything, and it also keeps the bulk down. Okay, so this particular page, let's talk about this for a second, because this is mocked up so that visually I know what I'm doing when it comes to printing time. I've already printed everything with this. This piece right here was printed separately because it's going to be cut out as a, I don't know, whatever size this is, like 2.5-inch square. This is a transparent white piece to represent the fact that I'm going to put vellum over top of this 4x6. I'm going to glue this guy right on the top, and this whole vellum piece and square is going to be a flip up. And when you flip it up, it's going to reveal the letter that Crystal sent to me asking if I wanted to be part of this photography chat that they did on the AAD Instagram site last year that I was part of. I also did not print this little gold heart right here because I am going to add the puffy sticker gold heart. But this is what I would call a true mock-up of how your pocket page is going to look, so that you have an idea of, okay, this is how it's going to look when it's printed. Do I like it? Am I happy with it? I do this a lot and it's super helpful. Okay, so this page right here, these are 3x4 pockets up at the top. This is a 4x6 pocket. I actually printed this out for my son last year and he hand wrote in all these little spots. So this is just a visual placeholder for me so that when I'm looking through the file, I know what is going to go in this spot. But I already have that printed. It's already in the album. So when these two pictures get printed, they're just going to slide right in. I might leave this as is and just enjoy this extra white space down here. Or I might add a little phrase strip. I might add a little strip of like pattern paper. Who knows what I'm going to do with this, but I'm going to leave it blank so that when it gets printed, I can decide when I'm going through the physical process of putting my pages together. Okay, this is another mock-up. So I don't know if anybody remembers, but there were these really beautiful printed transparencies that were offered in last year's kit, and or maybe it wasn't the kit. I think it was the shop. I think it was just a standalone transparency pack, and one of them was a 6x8, or excuse me, an outside the page protector, so it was probably 7 inches by 8.25, I think, transparency that says believe all over it, and I love it. It's gorgeous. So this particular page and its backing page is going to be printed. Just this 4x8 section is printed. It's going to be printed as a 4x8, and this over here is a 4x8, and I'm going to sandwich the transparency. I'm probably going to trim it so that I don't waste like 3.5 inches of it. But I'm going to sandwich it just in between those two 4x8 pages so that I have a little transparency on the outside. And you'll obviously see the back of it right here. You can see that I flipped it so that, again, like, I'm giving myself a visual cue in this Canva file so that I know design-wise, like, what the heck I'm doing. Because like I said, I started this file in December last year. And in order for me to be successful in keeping it going and doing the things that I originally thought of doing design-wise, I need to provide myself some visual cues like this, or else my brain is not going to remember at all what is happening. Okay, so the back of this, my daughter, I also gave her a physical list to print out, and I'm pretty sure if I remember correctly, she just wrote multiple items in each one of these little squares. So that's why I am ending up covering the bottom of it with this little photo, a little tiny text, and this little strip. So again, this overall making a list is the 4x8 piece, and I'm printing this white area down here with the black strip, which is the digital washi tape, I think, and the photo and the little text. So that's going to go. I'm going to cut it out and I'm going to lay it on top of the list, and voila, hopefully that all comes together well. I have no clue what I'm doing on this page. This is the facing 6x8 page of this. And yeah, no clue about this. I think I was playing around with the frames. Oh, this is interesting. So let me show you what I got here. Okay, so my PC fingers and my Mac keyboard, all of this is very confused right now. So I was working with one of the tag stamps to see how I could, how I could make a shorter tag. So that's what you see over here, is you see shortened tags, and ultimately it's just 2 of this one file right here, sandwiched together. And you can see right in the spot, if you can get up close enough, or if I can get you in close enough, you can see there's a little like hiccup in the line here, and there's a hiccup in the line here, and that's because that is where these 2 digital stamps overlap. And if you're okay with the look of that, then this method of making a shorter tag would work just fine. But again, like I said, I have no clue what I'm doing on this page. It says 6x8 open because I think I can just do whatever I want. So maybe once my album is finished, I'll find some random photo that I forgot to print, or maybe it'll be a piece of pattern paper. I have no clue. We'll find out later. Stay tuned. All right, this is again a placeholder for what's going to go here. This page has already been printed. Abigail has already filled it out. It's already in my album. I sized it this way so that I wouldn't confuse myself, so that I would know like, hey, this is just a placeholder, just a visual cue. All right, so here is the 6x8 photo, full page photo that is printed and adjacent for holiday interview. Okay, on the back of that is my son's, and I actually changed the color of this to green for him. And so his is printed, it's green. He filled it all out. And okay, so I made myself a note here. The page going to face this page for my son is an outside the page protector page. This black cardstock with the little gold circles, that's a paper that came in the Christmas past kit. And so it's already sized outside the page protector. It's beautiful. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a flip up. I have not actually done this yet, but this picture of my son is going to be printed at this size. This is the size I'm going to print it. Okay. And underneath it, after I format it, because it's very boring right now, is this text. So when you're looking at this page, you're going to flip up from the bottom, this photo, and you're going to reveal this text right here. When he filled out this interview, it was, his handwriting is either really huge, it was really hard to read, and plus I had some stories. So what I did was I translated what he wrote to right here, and I told a little story about it. So I'm going to hide that journaling underneath the photo, not because it's special journaling and I want to keep it secret, but just because on this spread I want to include all three of those things: a big photo, all that text, and his little interview card. So I'm trying to make it so that you don't have to turn the page to get the rest of the story. And I don't want to block either page by putting in like an insert, like a 4x8 or a 3x8 insert. So that's why I'm doing this little flip up. And plus it's a fun opportunity to use outside the page protector paper and a flip up. All right, moving on. Okay, again, this is an outside the page protector paper. I mocked it up right here so that I would have a visual as to how this is going to look. But this page is created in that other document that I showed you. Let's just pop over real quick. This is in, sorry, I make sound effects sometimes when I'm working on, well, anything on the computer really. Okay, outside the page protector. Excuse me. Okay. That is not what I meant to do. Sorry, hopefully I didn't lose you. Are you still there? Yep. Okay, good. Cool. Sorry about that. Okay, so this is my outside the page protector document. As you can see, I've got some vellum sheets I did for Week in the Life, but here is that page. Okay, so the proportions are different. It's a much more square page, even though it's not square. It's just a fatter rectangle than this page. So you see as I toggle through real quick. So it's super important that you are keeping that in mind when you're designing your page. Okay, all right, I'm going to go back to my actual working document here. All right, so this is a visual for what's actually happening, but the page is set up in my other file, and I printed it outside the page protector size. It's actually already in my album. I think I've shared it on Instagram at this point. So this little gold and black frame is a mock-up of what I was going to use to frame out his little photo. Okay, and you can see that this page right here, you can see this page finished on my Instagram page. I don't think I ended up using more twinkle lights because I just kind of liked it the way it was. And I didn't really feel like it needed it. All right, so here we go. This is super typical for my working documents. I make a little sketch with an idea, and then I take a photo of it with my phone and I drop it into my file. This gives me an idea of what the heck I'm planning on doing for these pages. And it really helps to translate this, you know, flat multi-page document into a little bit more of like a three-dimensional look. So let's see what I have going on here. This is what I plan to have my spread. This Ethan with lights is this page right here outside the page protector. This right here is another outside the page protector base down on the bottom. And I'm using a 4-up 3x4 page pocket page protector. And I'm going to attach it to the back of the outside the page protector full page and use it as a flip out. If any of you have ever seen Pam Baldwin's stuff, she does this all the time. And it's amazing because she's amazing. And it's a really great way to add like a flip up as well as a flip out, as well as more photos to a spread. And it's super fun to put in. I'm not a huge dimensional person. I like to keep my albums on the very thin side. I don't like a lot of bulk, but these are always really fun to add. So let's see how my pages work out. So I've got right here, this is my 4-up 3x4 one page. It's got 2 photos. This is the transparency from one of the, I think it's the Liz Tomahawk or Paisley Press kit. I slid the transparency into the pocket, so I didn't actually print anything for that. I'm still working on formatting this text. This is just a very good example of me writing lots of notes. Okay, a busy house, lots of children, Claire, Addison, Melanie, Ricky, and my kiddos. So this is text that I just in the moment dropped in just to kind of give me an idea, but I remember this day really well. So I'm going to take this text and just add a couple sentences, like make them sentences and format that and print out that little journaling card. So as you can see, this is the back of what's going to go on this 3x4 pocket protector. And this is the transparency, because remember, you want to mirror whatever it is you're doing, because when you flip it, it's going to be on the other side. And this photo right here, I cut right down the center. I made sure that it didn't cut into any major parts of my daughter. And I slipped the side in one 3x4 and the side in the other 3x4. It worked out just fine. I think you just need to pre-plan like where the center of your photo is. And so as you can see, I cropped it in a certain way that, only shows this, and made sure she was on one side or the other of the cut line. Okay, this is a visual only to let me know that after this, or this is going to be attached to this. This is an outside the page protector page. And you see, I wrote myself a note so that I know. Okay, so I'm going to zoom out a little bit and kind of go through this a little bit more quickly, but I want to make sure that you understand what you're seeing here when you're looking at it, and kind of give you some ideas as to how I deal with things, because then it might help you deal with things. Again, this is this is an outside the page protector area, and I have no clue what I'm doing here. I wrote myself a note. Pattern paper or Liz beautiful word paper. Who knows? I don't know what's going to happen. We'll see what happens. All right, so this is a 3x8 page protector. I have no clue what's going to happen here. I'm probably going to do like a vellum sheet with some embellishments or something. Maybe it'll be some pattern paper. I'm going to add some letter or number stickers right here for the date of 2019 when these snowmen were created. The photo was taken this year, or this last year, but the snowmen are the heights of the children in 2019. So clearly they've grown. It's a story I tell every year. Okay, I'm leaving the space blank up here for an embellishment, and maybe like a little embellishment right here, but this is pretty much ready to go. I just need to get it printed. 3x8. This is a 4x6 that's going to be an insert as a 4x6. You see, I made myself a note. I did it back in my 2020 album, and I really like the way that it looked. It's the same story I'm telling here as I told at that point when my husband fixed my garland lights and then hung them for me. So I want to set it up the same way, because really I'm all about the formulas, and it worked really well then. So why would I reinvent the wheel now? I'm just going to use the same formula and make it happen again. So this is the text for that, and this is the note, and this is the 4x6. Okay, this is the back of that. I don't have any images yet for it. It's probably just going to be a piece of pattern paper, or maybe it'll be a word art. I just haven't actually set it up yet, but it'll be printed as a 4x6 and sandwiched on the back of this. If you're curious what this looked like back in 2020, you can also check that out on my on my Instagram account, or maybe I'll find the photo and drop it in the comments. We'll see what happens. All right, let's see. Pocket page, super printout, super easy printouts, 3x4s on top, 4x6 on bottom. This is the back of that. Very minimal embellishing here. I think I just printed these and voila. All right, so this page right here represents a divider page between this story on the right-hand side and this story on the left-hand side. I'm going to put a transparency with the gold stars in between these two pages, and this is going to be facing this story because it was a very super basic December day, and this is going to be facing this story. So I printed this and this out on separate on a piece of cardstock, and then I'm going to use a circle punch to punch them out back to back them, and it's going to just be a little insert in between the two stories, just something visually to break them up. Oh, this is a great example of I have no clue what I'm doing here. Okay, so I have a couple photos from Abigail's advent calendar. I've got the words from Abigail's advent calendar, and I just dropped them all on the page because I don't know what I want to do. I don't know how this is going to lay out. It's going to be a 6x8 page because it's the back of this, but design wise, I have no clue. So it's all just thrown on there and I'll deal with that later. Okay, I'm going to insert a 3x4 2-up page protector because I'm going to have, some photos on Abigail's side, and then it's also going to face Ethan's side talking about his advent calendar, and I need to actually take photos of his advent calendar still. I didn't really take too many photos of him opening it because I was enjoying the moment while he was opening it, but I want to take a couple photos of what it looked like. I actually have those. I just haven't put them in here. So I have a photo of what it looked like before he opened it and a couple of the figures. It was a Funko Pop one. He's totally into Marvel superheroes. So this is him looking up some of the characters, like the character he opened that day. He's trying to figure out like, who is this guy? So anyway, this is a good example. Also, I have really no clue design wise what I'm doing, but I have the photo and I've got the words. This is a 4x6 pocket down here and 2 3x4s. This is going to be printed just like this, and I'm going to add some type of physical embellishment over this little pattern area right here. It's going to face this 6x8 page. Again, another something is going to go right here, like maybe who knows what it's going to be. Maybe it's going to be a little star or a tree, or maybe it's going to be a couple of word phrase strips stacked. Who knows? I don't know. Stay tuned. All right, so the back of that's going to be 6x8, and here's another example of I have no idea design-wise what I'm doing here. Okay, I threw this on because I was just kind of messing with stuff. It's going to have to be fine-tuned if it's going to stay like this because, things aren't lining up over here. There's white around these edges, but no white on the bottom. So again, this is a work in progress page, but I know it has to be 6x8 because it's going up against this one. And these are the things I want to include. It's got my photo, it's got my story facing it, it's got other photos, it's got more stories. Again, this is not the way the page is going to lay out, but this is the stuff that I want on the page. This is just a 6x8. It's already printed. It's going to go facing this info right here. And what I forgot about when I was laying this out, I was thinking in my brain that it was going to be 2 6x8 page protectors. And then I get to this page and I've laid this out as 2 4x6 pockets and a page protector. Well, those do not go back to back. So I've already committed to making those go back to back. So I need to design this page as 2 4x6s, which I think all I'm going to do is take these things, put them down here at the bottom, put this up here, kind of like do this, flip this guy on his side so that he's like up and down right here, and then somehow organize these down here. So like I said, I haven't actually done that yet, but that is what I need to do. A great example of a work in progress page. So these are all the things I want to use, and I just need to make it look pretty. Okay. This is a 3x8 page protector. It goes on the back of this right here. So I know that I have to take this information and somehow format it to be 3x8. These are the two stories I want to highlight: Ethan's favorite song and Abigail's favorite song. And then maybe, maybe it's like the lyrics, maybe it's just the title, maybe it's super big and super graphic. I don't know. We'll see. Okay, this page is pretty much ready to go. It's one 3x8 right here and one 3x8 right here. And then I'm going to add I've got some physical embellishments I'm going to add up here at the top, like a word phrase strip or something. So we'll see how that goes. This is another example of, I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to like best. So I printed both. So here's the same exact story, same text, same little header, same photo. Just, do I want it to be black and white or do I want it to be color? Winter months, there's no natural sunlight. We have super warm walls in our living room, and we have warm lighting hung up from the ceiling. And of course, or hung down from the ceiling. We have those string lights in the living room. So oftentimes our photos are really yellow. Did I care? I don't know. I'm not sure if I cared or not. So I actually printed both of these as 4x6s, and I currently have both in my album, and I'm not sure which one I'm going to use. On the bottom here, I'm using one of the 4x6 cardstocks from one of the kits. I don't know which kit, but one of the kits. And it has like a big remember word on it or something. So okay, 4x6s. I'm just gonna embellish that. This is a placeholder for me to know that I'm going to insert this vellum piece that I printed out. I did not purchase these transparencies, so I printed this on vellum, and I printed these little photos out, and I'm going to cut them and put them on top of it, and it's going to be facing this 6x8 that I printed from my kids' school. So again, there was a white elephant party at Abigail's school. This is all I wrote about it. I didn't ask her. I have photos from class. I need to put them in here. This is going to be a 6x8. This is the roughest of rough pages. It's like bare minimum. It's just letting me know that this is my idea for this page, and we'll see what happens. Okay, facing it is possibly going to be this picture. I'm not really sure. It may or may not be. I don't know. We'll find out. This page is done. It's printed, and it's got a big cardstock word on it with a couple little things, and it faces this. Good example of this is printed as a 4x8 right here, and then I took the physical things of this, and I think I cut this. Oh no, let's not go in there, Santa. Let's lock this. Okay, and then I layered these things together. So I designed it like this in my document, but when it was time to print it, I grabbed these guys and, oh, this is locked. That's right. So I need to unlock it. And I grabbed these guys and I just pushed them off to the side because I wanted to know that I planned on them going on here, but I didn't want to print them. So I just selected these things. I printed this as a 4x8. And these things are added physically. I often use the digital elements to mock up my page because, again, I really like those visual cues. And I also really like knowing already what my plan is. Okay. All right. This is exactly the same thing. This is a physical frame that I already had, but I wanted to make sure that my plan was going to work with the way that it was sized and everything. So I printed the photo out separately. I printed this little text out separately, and then I put it all together physically. And I think I just posted this on my Instagram page too. Okay, these are going in 4x6 pages. This line represents a cut line here. I'm going to circle cut around this and sandwich it back to back with this, so that I'm doing the same thing. And this negative space back here is going to be a transparency. So I know that that's my plan because I have this little line right here, and that line was not printed, but it's in my file to give me the visual cue that, like, hey, something is going on here and this is what your plan is. Okay. All right. No idea what's happening here, but I know that I want to do something. So I put in this grid so that it will tell me that I want to do some type of 12 up 2x2 squares. Another example of no idea what's happening here with the layout. These are the photos I want to use, and the fact that like, hey, I haven't edited the photos yet. They're still kind of pink. And here's the text, and oh, look, details coming soon. So thank goodness my daycare lady, she posted some details about the party on her Facebook account. So I'm going to go there and steal them and drop those in. Okay, this has already been printed. This has already been printed. This is just a 3-up or 4-up 3x4. This is going to be the back of that. Again, I don't really have a story to go on the back of that, but maybe Quiet and Cozy, maybe that's going to be talking about the shows that we watched this last year. A blank 6x8, but I have to have it because here's a printed 6x8 that's going to be on the left-hand side. So that means this is going to be on the right-hand side behind it. So this is a placeholder telling me that I have to print a 6x8 to go behind this guy. Okay, this has already been printed. I may or may not add a physical embellishment here. I might just leave it as white space. I like white space. All right, so same thing, 6x8 right here. I might add something right here. I might not, who knows? I printed out an entire sheet of this because I really like the pattern, and I thought like I could cut out a star, I could cut out a circle. I could cut out a circle and have like the circle kind of coming up on the bottom right here to help pull in the pattern from the one page onto the other page. Maybe I cut out a heart in this pattern paper to just tie the 2 pages together, because this is the right hand side and this is the left hand side. I don't know, we'll see. I have them printed, I just haven't done them. Okay, this is something I just posted. I think this is the one I posted where I asked if you guys wanted to see my file. So here's that. All right, this is the 6x8 that's going to go onto the back of this one right here. And I haven't finished my journaling. That's why I did my bullet points to remind me of what happened that day. It was a stressful day, and it wasn't the most like a joyful day to start out with. And so that's what I feel like is my hang up for doing the text, because I want to be authentic in my writing, and I don't want to completely leave out the fact that my husband and I were at each other's throats. But at the same time, you know, how do I want to word that to where, so it doesn't sound as bad as it, or it doesn't sound worse than it actually was. We were just really irritated with each other. So I need to write that text right there, but that's what happened. So that I remember kind of, you know, the flow of the day. This page is done. It is going to go adjacent this page. So I just need to print it, and I'm planning on adding like a little word strip right here. And maybe, you know, maybe there will be some word strip or something right here that'll tie into that. Okay. And this is where we get into the really messy part of my album. I don't know what I'm doing right here. I may leave it like this. I don't really like how the photo is poking out the bottom of the text, and there's gaps right here. So I might make my own custom frame in Illustrator and then drop it in. I don't know. But this is some of the text I want to use. And these are the other photos from that page. I might leave it as a grid. I don't know. Pages with grids make me happy, because really when it comes down to it, all I want are the photos and the stories. Years from now, I really don't care about the embellishments. They're cute and they add something definitely, but they're not the star of the show. So I might print this just as it is. After I fine tune my grid a little bit, I can see that my spacing is off a little bit on the left hand side. All right, so Christmas Eve. I know what's going to go here, but I haven't put anything here. More Christmas Eve. I know what we did, but I need to add my story and my photos. Christmas morning, a ton of photos, and no real design here. Everything's just thrown on the page, and just a little tiny blurb. And quite honestly, this might be the blurb that I put on Facebook. I don't know. Okay, so who knows what I'm doing here. I haven't designed it. Again, haven't designed this either. It's just a whole bunch of photos with some text. Definitely don't know what I'm doing here. I've got some photo spots, but I have assigned what the story is going to be. And I think that that's the most important part, is assigning what story is going to go on what page, and write as much about it at the time as you possibly can. If you have photos, drop them in. Oh, my daughter's first sleepover. Crazy. Anyway, so I wrote about that. It happened in December. It was absolutely not a Christmas story, but I document December stories. They don't all have to do with Christmas, and they don't all don't stop on Christmas Day. I do the entire month of December. Okay, so I know that's going to be a 6x8, but that doesn't actually make sense when you look at this right here, because this is two 4x6s, and this is two 3x4s and a 4x6. So towards the end of the album, like I'm telling you, it's getting really crazy. I don't have my page protectors figured out, and yeah. But this page, I know I'm going to print this as a 4x6, and this is the paper that I'm going to use at the bottom. Same thing. I've assigned a page and I've assigned a story, but that's about it. Okay, I think we've reached the bottom of what I've actually been productive at. The rest of the stuff that you see down here are pages I put together to either show examples of how to use products, show, illustrate things for people, drop in the fact that like, oh, I do want to have a page with, this little Christmas art that my kiddo did. I don't know why I just dragged that up there. See, I'm talking and doing things when I probably shouldn't be. Okay, so I know that I want to have, these two pieces of artwork that my kids drew of the Grinch. I know that maybe I want to use this little wreath file. Maybe I want to do things. So this is kind of like my little sandbox of working things down here, random things that I've made that I might want to use. Oh, look, we've got a page here with movies that we watched and other random things. I think I was going to do a December in numbers, and we clearly did not watch 1,111 Christmas movies or drink 1,111 Starbucks drinks. Those are just placeholders. So I didn't do a good job. Like, this was my plan. I was going to write down how many times we did these things during the month of December, and obviously I did not. But it's just the way it goes sometimes. But let's see here. I think that this gives you a pretty good idea of what my working document looks like for last year's December daily. And I hope that it provided you some type of either inspiration or an idea on how to tackle your own situation, or maybe you just found it entertaining. If you have any questions for me, please feel free to leave them in the comments, and I will get back to you as quickly as I can. Thanks so much, guys.